All right, everybody, welcome into episode 20 of JD's Empire Sports Talk with a special guest I was hinting at for the last week or so, my buddy CT, Chris Thomas, who will be on monthly, or maybe a little more depending on the schedule, talking Mets and Yankees baseball, of course, with spring training uh, starting tomorrow. Yankees got a game tomorrow, Mets on Saturday, so I thought it would be best to have CT coming in nice and early, and then at the end of spring training as well. But I'll talk about him a little bit first. Teammate of mine at Marywood, so we kept the connection going. Always good to stay in touch with former teammates, and here we are doing this episode and many more. But also, I want to give a shout out to his Instagram and TikTok account where he breaks down a lot of good film, like hitting wise. It's CT25_24. I could also say that at the end of the episode, so just in case people forget, and I'll tag him as well in the reel I come up with maybe a few reels. We give CT some extra love on the account, maybe two or three reels. But with that being said, CT, you got anything to say before we get this thing rolling here?
That was a great introduction, JD. I just hope that everybody has a good day, and man, I hope you enjoy this episode.
Oh yeah, we're gonna kill it. Us two talking sports, especially him being a Yankees fan, me being a Mets fan, and it'll be fun. But with that being said, let's get it going. So I think it's best to start giving an outline of what we're gonna do first regarding the Mets and the Yankees. Because yeah, we could talk about how good they're gonna be, but I think it's best if we go in depth more about them. So we know both teams last year had, if you want to call, deep playoff runs. Didn't end the way both teams wanted it to, with the Mets losing in the NLCS and the Yankees losing in the World Series, both to the Dodgers. So I think that both teams are more motivated than ever to get back to that certain spot and get over the hump and possibly face each other in the World Series, and then whoever wins at that point will be the best team. So I think if we start with the Yankees here, so I see T. I think you could take me through your strengths and weaknesses of the Yankees because, of course, they lost a certain piece that I don't want to name yet, but that could affect them in different
Yeah,
ways.
they
But
did.
I think what you could lay out here can have the Yankee fans feel better because they did make a lot of moves in regards to trying to replace Juan Soto, and also on the pitching staff they shored that up as well. A little bit of holes that they had. Take it away.
Yeah, so first I'll start with the pitching staff. I mean, the pitching staff I expected to be really good this season, especially the starting rotation all the way to the bullpen. It's going to be the main strength and the backbone of this team. Mac Blake, he does a tremendous job with the staff. And they got great additions in Tyler Mazik, who's a veteran lefty, pitching in plenty of big time games. Got Fernando Cruz and Devin Williams and Max Fried. They're going to be big additions to this team. And I think overall, this pitching staff is going to be really good. Offensively wise, there's some questions, but I can see them still being really good offensively. Like some of the questions would be like for Jason Dominguez, how was he going to do in his first year as a full time starter? How significant is that elbow injury for Giancarlo Stanton? And for Paul Goldschmidt, how will he bounce back and really find success in the Bronx? And who's going to start at third for the Yankees? Either DJ or Osvaldo, or maybe to get a trade at the trade deadline. I think just to look forward to get another big bat in the lineup, and also like who's going to set the table for the Yankees? Who's going to
Yeah.
ultimately step up and be that leadoff hitter that can set the table for Judge and the rest of the guys?
Yeah, I wanted to start with the. I like how you mentioned the pitching staff there. So we know Clay Holmes, who was the closer last year, and Weaver in the playoffs as well. But I think obviously Clay Holmes is gone now. But I think that bringing in Devin Williams will be a key difference for them. Especially, I know we'll get into it in a little bit, but the division, that division is going to be a gauntlet. I think this year, especially with the Red Sox improving. The Rays always know how to win games. Orioles are a very young and talented team. And I felt last year they left a few more wins on the table with Clay Holmes, and I think Devin Williams won't let that happen. He'll go in there, that ninth inning will be shut down. And now what
Mm-hmm.
Luke Weaver did in the postseason, I know you love him, but he came in and he did his job, and now he's going to be the setup man. On top of the few left-handers they have, they brought Tim Hill back as well, so that's two quality
Mm-hmm.
lefties they got. Like you said, Cruz, another guy from Cincinnati, he can throw it. I like the moves for them, I really do. And with the lineup, I want to get one of your I want to get your thoughts on this. Who do you? I know you said they need someone to set the table for a judge. Do you have any idea like who it should be, or like do you think they're gonna do what you want them to do? Because I know I've been hearing Dominguez a lot, but like, do you think he's ready to get
Mm-hmm.
into that leadoff spot and get it going, or do you think they should go with someone maybe I don't know like Jazz Chisholm who's experienced and he can get it done up there? What do you think about that?
That's an interesting thought. I mean, with Jason Dominguez, I think he should start like hit like seventh. Get him comfortable, get his feet wet, especially to start the season.
Yeah,
And then if he ultimately breaks out, then that'd be great.
yeah.
And have him hit lead off. But maybe to start the season, I would either think of having Anthony Volpe up there again, see
Mm.
how he does at the leadoff spot again, or even as you mentioned, even Jazz Chisholm, because he is electric, man. He's got speed and he can hit for power. So I'll say either one of those three options be good options for the leadoff spot.
Yeah, I was thinking about Volpe as well, especially with him going into year three. He kind of has to take that next step. So if he could do that and bat leadoff for them, I think that lengthens the lineup a lot. But we'll see what happens. Next point
Mhm.
I think we should talk about is, of course, the elephant in the room, Juan Soto, who decided to take his talents across New York. I won't make too much fun of you because I know it upsets you a little bit, but I think the point of the topic I want to say here is first for the Yankees, how can they overcome the departure? Because I know you mentioned they brought in a few new bats. So I want you to take me through how each of those guys can do something for this team. And then, as well, when we get to the Mets, we'll talk about what he can do for the Mets. But take it away with that. I know Goldschmidt and Bellinger coming in. Those two should. I don't think they could replicate what Soto was for the Yankees last year, but
Mhm.
they could try to. They could try to be at least right.
Mhm. I mean, with the loss of Von Soto, that's a big loss because last year, judging Juan Soto, that was like thunder and lightning.
Yeah,
If they weren't hitting home runs or getting on base, they were working the counts, and that was very valuable for the Yankees offense. I think this year it's going to be more of an offense by committee. Judge, he's still going to do his thing. He's still going to rig, put up MVP type numbers, but overall, it's just a matter of can the guys in the middle lineup like Paul Goldsmith give them that production, be able to drive and runs when he's called upon, and Big G being able to hit bombs and driving runs. And the guys in front of Judge, like hitting second and clean up, can he provide that protection so that he still gets pitches ahead? He's not just getting walked all the time.
exactly. I think that's one of the things, not even just Yankee fans, just people in baseball as well, curious to see what they can do to make sure Judge gets those pitches. Because obviously last year with Soto there, Judge was getting a lot of pitches to hit just because of you had those two guys, like you said, Thunder and Lightning. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know who those other teams may fear just yet. I know Bellinger could definitely be that type of bat where like, okay, we can't mess around with Judge here because we know Bellinger's getting up next, maybe, possibly, wherever he's batting.
Mm-hmm.
So curious to see how that works out. And then there was another little bit of news. Of course, Marcus Stroman getting in the news for maybe the wrong reasons once again. So we know he signed with the Yankees last year. He pitched very, very well in the first half of the year, but kind of after that, the wheels fell off for him. And then in the postseason, he really wasn't trusted. I know who was at the ALDS. He wasn't even on the roster for. And then the
Yeah, correct.
ALCS,
Right, right.
ALCS and World Series, he was, but they didn't really even want to use him at all. And then
Mm-hmm.
he comes back. He misses the first couple of days or first day or two of pitchers and catchers, I know. And then he comes in and they interview him about being a reliever, and he just shuts that down right away. What is your take on this? Because I know as a Mets fan, I've watched Stroman throw, and I know his personality is it could be a little too much sometimes. And I know, like for as with the Mets, he didn't want to be here, so he kind of left early, and that was it. He didn't really enjoy his time with the Mets. So what do you think? Do you think it's kind of Stroman just being Stroman, or is it like does he have a legit argument in this case? Because to me, I don't think he has a legit argument being in that rotation. I just think they're very deep, and they have five guys who are better than him right now. I mean, I think you can agree with me, right? I know three off the top of my head that are definitely better than him. What do you think?
No, I definitely agree with that. I mean, he could definitely crack the rotation like with Clark Smith if he gets injured. Because I'm hearing that
He's
he's
hurt.
got like a
Yeah.
it's not like a terrible back, but his back is lingering a little bit. Nothing serious.
Mm.
So I get why he's upset because the Yankees were trying to trade him all off season, and he could have handled it better.
Yeah.
Because I believe this could be a great opportunity for Stroman to prove that he still got something left in the tank, and he could end up being the starter for the Yankees during the course of the season, or even a long reliever because it's a long season, and guys that can come in and eat up some minutes, those are very valuable in the course of the season.
No, yeah, exactly. And that was another thing too. I feel like maybe he could have just took the approach differently and been like, whatever the team needs me to do, I'll do it. And then maybe they can work out a trade with a team later on in the season, so that can be avoided having that issue around. But we'll see. I'm sure, like you
Oh,
said, he'll have a
absolutely.
shot. he'll have a shot at starting at some point because no team makes it through an entire season with five starters. That never happens, and we'll see what happens. But let's
Mhm.
slide over to the Mets. I know you're not a Mets fan, but you do have knowledge, of course, of baseball. So I want to get your take on it because obviously, when I have conversations with people and I what I think the Mets can do, people will be like, "Oh, you're just a Mets fan. You don't know what you're talking about. Like you're just saying it because you're a team." So that's why I'd rather have a Yankees fan come on here, right, and give their take on what the Mets can do because obviously I think they could get back to where they were last year. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say, but I want to see what do you think their strengths and weaknesses are, and then I'll jump in with you as well after that.
I would say their strength is going to be the offense. I mean, that 1-2 punch is going to be really good with Lindor and Soto.
Mhm,
You got a good, it's a pretty good lineup in the middle of the order with Alvarez and Pete Alonso, guys like that, and Winker. I mean, this line's going to be pretty darn good.
mhm,
I'd say the weakness would be obviously the starting rotation. Like Shamanai, he's pretty good. And then Sagoon, he's good as well. But obviously, there's no ace on the staff, and it's hard to sometimes, you know what I mean? Like when if it had to be like a shootout all the time.
mhm.
So that'd be one of the questions for cause of concern. And you got like two good arms in the bullpen. I mean, I don't know who else is in the bullpen. There's probably other quality arms down there, like AJ Minter. He's going to be good.
Yeah,
And you know, Evan Diaz. He does a pretty good job in the bullpen. I know my friend. He sometimes gets on him because of all the antics, like of what happened in the WBC, how he got hurt. But
yeah,
overall, he's a good closer.
yeah. All
So I
right.
expect the Mets to be good this year.
Yeah, you made me feel a little better there because I've been trying to tell people like I know the shotting rotation can be a weakness, especially Montas got injured now and he'll be out for a few months. So the depth got tested already, which usually happens with the Mets in spring training. Always one starter goes down and they have to battle from there. But I think the rotation, in the sense of talent, yes, they'll be okay. I think they'll be fine, but they don't have like the studs that the Yankees have. Obviously, Cole and Fried at the top of the rotation. Like Senga's a
Mhm.
really good pitcher, but I don't think he matches what they can bring. And you're relying on Mania to be his second half self, and his track record doesn't always prove for him to be consistent every year. So that's something you had to count on.
Mhm.
And then Clay Holmes being a starter, Peterson continuing his success. So there's a lot of what ifs in the rotation, but I think if it all breaks the way people think that it can work out. And then with the lineup as well, I think that they're going to be a lot deeper than people think because when I see the lineup, it's like okay, you see the first five of Lindor, Soto, Vientos, Alonso, Nimmo, in whatever order you want to make that. Those guys are going to be the most consistent everyday players that'll be in there producing, which you can't argue about that. But then, like you said, Winker could be a hot or cold kind of guy. I know him and Marte are going to like rotate with DH, so I'm curious to see how that works out. Alvarez, I think he needs to step up a little more. I get on him a lot, but I know it's very tough for a young catcher. It's very tough for a young catcher to control a whole pitching staff and hit as well. And last year his defense was really, really good, and the bat wasn't there. And we'll see what happens with that. And then at second base too, I think McNeil's time's up. I think as a
For
Mets
Acuna,
fan, yeah, I think it's Acuna's time. He's a stud. I don't know if you think that as well, but he can play. So I think it's his
I
time.
mean, I've been hearing about Acuna that he's basically Jose Reyes but with more power. I mean, that's at
Yeah,
least what somebody told me.
yeah, he can do it. I can't wait to see that. And then Jose Siri, I mean the team vibe kind of guy now. I think he replaced Iglesias because Iglesias most likely won't be back. But I know him and Soto had some
Mhm.
history, so I'm curious to see what happens with that. But they're all hugs and smiles right now, CT. So we'll see what happens. But I think the next thing. So we talked about the departure of Soto for the Yankees and like what's gonna transpire for them. What do you think Soto does to the team, not only like on the field but off the field? Because of course he has a 15-year contract, so he's going to be the face of the Mets before you know it. Like I know right now they have a mix of guys that you could say the face, but I think before the you know it, once Soto starts producing, and obviously the fans love him already. He hasn't even played yet, but he's well liked. What do you think he does for this team? Just like a overall like organizational aspect of it.
I mean, Soto, he gives you optimism. I mean, he kind of leads by example. He puts in the work in the cages, and he has a solid approach, and he's gonna help that way. And, so he's a good guy. He's a very very good guy. He truly cares about the game of baseball, so that's gonna help.
Yeah.
So I believe that he's ultimately gonna give you guys optimism, give you hope for the season.
There we go. I finally got a Yankee fan to admit something good because I've been posting. I posted earlier today. Soto bought Brett Beatty like a $900,000 car. I'm like, oh, he's such a team guy, and I got all my Yankee fan friends like, oh, okay, wait until the Mets have one losing season. He's gonna be running out of there. I'm like, nah, he's here for 15 years. But sorry about that. But all
He
right, I'll
could
stop.
after 5 potentially.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. I mean, if
Yeah.
they win, I think he'll be here. But
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, he will.
yeah, if the next thing I wanted to talk about here was the pitching going back to the rotation. Montas, who was a former, he pitched on the Yankees, didn't have much success there, but he has gotten better since then. He'll be out for a few months, and I know the Mets want to do. I don't know if you heard about this, a six-man rotation. Do you think they should go out there and give maybe Jose Quintana a call, who's a free agent, pitch very well for them in the post? He was like one of their better postseason pitchers. I mean, he was really, really good. Or do you think maybe they should try to swing a trade with the Padres? I know the Padres are trying to get rid of either Michael King or Cease? Do you think they should go that route and make sure they can shore up a rotation spot and not have to worry? Because I feel one of those two, those guys are coming there. They'll make every start possible for the entire season. I don't think they bring any issues. Do you think they should maybe go for the little band-aid approach, getting Quintana, or that long-term approach and getting one of those Padres pitchers?
I would try to get one of those Padres pitchers, either Dylan Cease or you get the Michael King, because last year they were really good for the Padres.
Mm,
You take one of those from the Padres, I mean, you make the Padres a little weaker.
yeah,
So I say ultimately go for that move. Because also you got the experiment of Clay Holmes. You don't know what's going to happen there, whether he excels in his role of being the starter or not.
yeah,
And he's got that new kick changer that I never heard of. But
yeah.
but
Never
besides the
heard of
point,
that one before.
yeah. But I think you should go for that move. Go try to get that move, and try to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, like you're going all in. Obviously, by making these moves, you got to just keep going. You want to make sure the roster's as good as possible. All right, let's go on to the next thing here. So both teams, obviously, expectations are through the roof. I think as Met fans and Yankee fans, you can agree on this. Both teams should be in the World Series this year. I know the Dodgers stand in the way of the Mets. I
Mhm.
think the Yankees have a little bit of an easier path just because of how talented they are, and I think they're the best team in the American League. Some teams they get better, but I think the Yankees should still be the best team in the American League throughout the season. So I think first, take me through how you feel both teams stack up in their divisions because both divisions should be extremely competitive. And then once you get through that, talk to me about like that next thing. Like what are they? How do they stack up in the National and American League?
So within the AL East, I think it's going to be a very, very good division race, as you mentioned. It won't be a cupcake for sure,
Uh,
especially the Red Sox. They added Crochet, they added Walker Bueller, and they added Bregman. And I know everybody's going to be talking about the chaos of Rafael Devers, but
yeah,
he did set the example by coming to spring training early. And I know there's plenty of other things that he can do with his time besides going to spring training early.
yeah,
So, so with that being said, I think they're going to be really good. And I think the Orioles, they're still going to be good. I think they take a little step back. I think they finish third in their division. They still got a good, solid young core, Alec Ruxman and Gunnar Henderson. So they're still going to be a really good team. And overall, I think the Yankees are going to win that division and compete for the 1 seed to see what happens from there.
All right, so you have some faith in the Yankees. I like that. Who do you think their biggest
Oh,
threat?
yeah.
Do you think it even is in the American League, or do you think it's them getting to the World Series and then having to worry about someone beating them? Do you think they just have an easy? I wouldn't say easy, but do you think they have a clear path to the World Series? Do you think there's any specific team that can get in the way of that?
Honestly, I think it's going to be the Boston Red Sox. They'll definitely be up there. Houston, they're still gonna do their thing. They're still a nice organization. But
Hmm.
I think it's gonna be the Boston Red Sox. It's got a nice young core that can hit, and they got better this offseason, a whole lot better. Got
Yeah,
speed and athleticism. I think the Boston Red Sox are gonna be a problem. And Alex Cora, he gets the best out of his team. So
yeah. I was gonna say
Boston Red
that.
Sox, yeah.
I was about to say Alex Cora can whatever the teams they were say they'll win 80 games. Alex Cora, I feel, can get them another 6 wins. That's the type of coach he is. I mean, that would be some
Oh,
ALCS,
absolutely.
right? Yankees and Red Sox in the ALCS. That would be something. And then I want you to
Yeah,
take.
that makes me sweat bullets a little bit.
What do you think about the National League? Do you think the Mets have What do you think they're going to do in the division? Because that division, the Braves and the Phillies and the Mets, of course, are three teams that can win 90 plus games. And then the other two teams, they're not even worth mentioning. They stink. The Nationals and the Marlins.
That's it.
And then in the other divisions, I obviously Dodgers will be there. But like, what do you think? Do you think they have a shot at the World Series? How about the division?
So if division wise, I think they'll be really well. I mean, I got the Braves winning the division
Hmm.
because I think they're gonna come back for vengeance. They got Jackson Profar from the Padres. He can hit. They're gonna be really good. I mean, pitching staff is still pretty good overall, even though they lost Max Fried. I mean, I think the Braves are gonna be nice this year. I
Hmm.
got the Mets finishing second. Solid team. Phillies, personally, I think they taking a step back. I don't
Okay.
know what's going on with the Phillies right now, but it just seems like that they lost their competitive spirit. It feels like they lost their mojo, their MO, and I'm like, what is going on in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I
It
think the
seems
mojo
like
went to the Eagles.
they lost their swagger.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And I don't with the Phillies. I don't want to go too much into them because I'm not a big Phillies guy. But they didn't really do much in the offseason to get better. I would think.
Only
I
Max
don't think.
Kepler.
Yeah, and Luzardo will be a good rotation piece for them. I think that gets them another guy that they could have been missing last year. But the lineup will be pretty much the exact same as what it was last year. So that'll be interesting to see. And then what do you think here? I put Subway Series, World Series potentially. The Subway Series is something it has happened before in the World Series, but of course didn't go the Mets' way. Do you think that could be something that happens 25 years later now? Or do you think that there's another possibility out there?
I mean, it's still a chance of happening this year. The Dodgers are really strong.
Yeah.
Dodgers are on paper the clear cut favorites to win the World Series, obviously. But you know, it's a long season and it's very hard to repeat in baseball, I would say. It's a lot harder to repeat as a champion compared to as in the NBA. So so that's a factor too. So I believe that the Mets got a chance of making it to the World Series, but ultimately, right now on paper, I would say it'd be the Braves and the Dodgers to be out there. It's like World Series contenders.
Yeah. And then the next thing, staying with this Subway Series potential, I think the Mets and Yankees rivalry right now is probably at its one of its highest points, and I know in my life so far, I really can't remember a time as where it's been this competitive. Just like even people putting posts on social media, Yankee fans and Mets fans just arguing over everything right now. And I know Soto definitely has something to do with that, but I feel even before that, last year, like during the regular season, and when they had both had chances at meeting in the World Series, I think that was when it started to heat up a little more. And what do you think? Do you think this is one of the best rivalries in baseball right now? I mean, I think so. I think it's going to only get worse too. Especially, I know I'm going to hear it from you when Soto goes 1 for 15, say in the first 2 weeks of the season. I'm not going to hear the end of it from you. And I know if I don't know, say Stroman keeps giving you issues or Soto hits 40 home runs before September, I'm going to let you know. It'll be like, yeah, we just little brothered you guys this year and got the big prize, and you guys traded the prospects, introduced them to New York, and then we took them over after that. I think this rivalry is pretty big right now.
Oh yeah, this rivalry is really really good. I mean, especially this Subway series is going to be intense, very intense this year. It's one of those that you don't want to miss. I feel
Oh,
like rivalries in baseball are back with the
yeah, I mean,
Padres and the Dodgers too. Yeah,
yeah, I think so too, and I know they're going to play each other early in the season, so this will be a lot. It'll be fresh in people's minds, and I mean, I know New York fans they don't forget much. So even if the Mets played the Yankees in September, Soto is still going to hear it the entire game. But now with it being early, I think it's May, right? They play each other at Yankee Stadium. So I'm pretty sure.
yeah, Meg. Yeah,
Yeah, it's nice and early for those fans to let Soto hear it throughout the entire game and the entire series as well. Before we go
oh
into
yeah.
it, I wanted to talk about obviously you mentioned it, a good thing to mention, the grind of spring training, the regular season, the playoffs. Before that, I think it's best to say, can you give me a breakout player for the Yankees and a breakout player for the Mets, and I'll do the same as well.
So you would think I would say Anthony Volpe because his first year wasn't very good. Then the second year, I felt like he got better, especially in the postseason. He hit very well. Third year, I mean, I expect him to be solid baseball player. You know, you got Jazz Chisholm too. Potentially could be a 30-30 guy.
Yeah.
got that speed, he got the power. And I think Fernando Cruz, he's going to be underrated under Matt Blake in that bullpen. He's got a very good splitter. I think Matt Blake is going to take advantage of that.
Hmm.
But the guy that I got breaking out is Jason Dominguez,
Okay.
the guy
All
that
right.
all of us Yankee fans have been waiting for. It is his time to shine. The Martian is going to do his thing. And who knows? Maybe us Yankee fans will say, Juan Soto who?
I mean that could be the perfect replacement for him. I'm totally with you on that. That he has the potential. Well, I was gonna
Oh,
mention
yeah.
about the Yankees before you go and give your Mets breakout player. I was gonna mention Austin Wells. I don't know how you feel about that. I think he can be a breakout player. He played very well the second half of the year once he got his consistent starting time, which I think should have happened before it did. But that's besides the point. But I think he could be a breakout guy, especially that lefty bat in Yankee Stadium. Whoever that is, listen, they don't have to do much, and that ball goes over the fence. So I think he can be
That's true.
he has
Yeah.
the potential for I think a 30 home run year out of him. I could see it, and that would be huge for them.
No, I can see it one day. He's definitely got pop.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so let's hear your Mets breakout player.
Ooh, Mets breakout player? It's a tough one. You know what? I'll go with the same. I mean, I'm gonna go with Mark Vientos
Yeah,
from the Mets.
yeah, okay.
Very good in the postseason. I think he's gonna step up to the plate and solidify himself as one of the premier third basemen in the game. Not the best, but it could be top 10, 15 in the game.
Yeah, I like that one. He came out of nowhere as well because he was thought as the guy that was going to be traded probably at the deadline last year, and Brett Beatty didn't do the job, and Vientos stepped in and did
Mhm.
great, especially like you said in the postseason. And now he's going to be up there in that top four of the order. He'll be relied upon a lot. My Mets breakout guy, I think, is Alvarez. I think his bat is going to be huge
Good
for
one
this
too.
team. And he went to work with JD Martinez, who's not on the team anymore, but he was there last year with the Mets. He went to work with him in the cages this winter, and you can tell. I mean, BP only tells you so much, but the swing looks a lot better. It was very long last year, and he wasn't hitting anything with velo because he couldn't.
Yeah, your head coach mentioned that too. He likes to swing more.
Yeah, which so it's good.
Mhm.
I'm very happy with that. But let's go on to the next thing, the grind of spring training to the regular season to the playoffs. Because it was a little bit different in college, but we knew it was a huge grind, of course, from the fall all the way to the end of the spring semester. It was a lot. And these MLB or pro guys, they have a longer season than we ever did. So, what do you how do you think the what's the approach with that? Because you obviously don't want to blow your arm out in spring training and you need a condition that way very, very well. I know you talked about it on your CT balling as well, CT 25 underscore 24, with like the grind of college athletes. But how do you think these pro guys go through it? Because it's a lot.
It's more like taking it day by day, and it's more of listening to your body. Like, if you don't have it that day, take it easy. Like, there's no need to try to blow your arm out in some spring training game in March or early April because it's a long, long season. And you want to be ready for late games in September and ultimately, hopefully, into the postseason. So I think it's more managing your workload, understanding your body.
Yeah, I like that. I like that answer because especially like I know we know of course the first month or two of the year is cold, so it's very possible that you can get hurt a lot easier and pulling any little muscle. And we've seen it already. They're in the warm weather and they're getting hurt already with back tweaks and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
Any little thing
I,
can be that issue that hurts you for the rest of the year. What were you gonna say?
I'm not understanding how so many of the Yankee players are hurt already.
Yeah.
I mean, like they just got started. I'm seeing multiple dudes got some injuries now. What's going on?
Yeah, especially the Stanton one. I was gonna clown you for that one. I'm like, how do you have two tennis elbows? What happened
Yeah,
with that one? But yeah, that's usual Stanton. He'll be out for the regular season, and then once he get to the
yeah.
postseason, he'll go out there and crush it. I think you and all the Yankee fans are used to that. But before we end, do you have any final thoughts? And then I just wanted to do one little thing before we get off. Do you have
hmm
any final thoughts on these two teams, or especially your Yankees?
I'll say for the Yankees, I think defensively it's gonna be a lot better, especially with Cody Bellinger on center. You got Jazz up the middle and Volpe. I think the defense is gonna be a lot better than it was last year. I think they won't get complacent due to Soto leaving, and now you got to be more fundamentally sound and not just rely on two guys in the order. because you can be complacent and be like, oh, I can boot the ball here because Juan Soto and Aaron Judge are going to save us, and hopefully the base run is a lot better this year. I mean, the base running was so bad last year that it would have caused coaches having a heart attack. Like it was that bad. There was so many base running blunders. So hopefully that cleans up too. But overall, I think it's to be a great year of baseball. And who knows? I hope that the Yankees make a run in the postseason and the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are set up for it, and I was gonna mention that the defense is a lot better, especially with Jazz in his actual position, that's something that he wasn't in last year at all. And we saw in the World Series what that defense they kind of collapsed. Now I think Judge is well back in his normal position. I think it shores everything up to where it's supposed to be. Like you don't want guys out of position. What I mean, they had to do it last year, just based off the personnel. But it's very good to see that that's the case this year, where they got guys in the right spot. And I don't really have any final thoughts. So nothing that really comes to my mind. I think it's just that I'm hoping for a Subway Series World Series, and hopefully it ends in favor of me being happy because I couldn't deal with that. I could not deal with the Yankees beating the Mets in the World Series. I mean, I'm asking for it, so if it happens, it's my fault. But I just wanted to one last thing. Just want
And
to
I'll
thank.
let you hear about it if the
Oh, I know
Yankees
you
do
will.
win.
Yeah, I know you will, CT. You and all the other Yankee fans. Most of my friends are Yankee fans. I don't really have many Met fans that are friends of mine, so I hear it for every little thing I do. I mean, I try to support my team, and I get shut down. Oh, what are you doing? Your Mets suck. All right, they suck.
Yes.
We'll see
Yeah.
what happens. But before we end it here, I just wanted to thank CT for coming on. I think it'll be best if he comes on every month. Maybe twice a month. We'll see how the season's going, but definitely right before the regular season that week to come on to give like a little bit of an evaluation of where his Yankees are at, and of course talk about the Mets as well because we got to talk about both teams in here, the different perspectives.
Mhm.
But for all the fans out there, uh, Instagram, TikTok, the YouTube, make sure you watch this entire episode because I know I'll be posting reels on Instagram and TikTok, and CT will as well. But you don't want to miss all the baseball knowledge that we just talked about for a good what? It was a good 35 minutes. So I don't think anybody wants to miss that. Opening day, of course, end of March. So we're almost there. Spring training will be over before you know it. Anything else, CT, before we sign off here?
Go Yankees, baby.
Yeah, I guess so. For CT, I can never say that, but go Mets. Comment, like, and share all of our videos. Both accounts will be going with the reels going up there. Let's get our views. Maybe we can stir some Yankee Met fan arguments in the comments. We can egg them on a little bit. But that's all good
Mhm.
fun. With that being said, episode 20 is over, and everyone have a good rest of your day.